Okay, I want to do a few more equations today, and there's an almost limitless number of twists and turns that they can give you in algebra class to these things. But never forget the basics, the order of operations, and the principles that I gave you last time. So let's look at this equation. Instead of x, we have a, and you could use anything. It was without a definite value. 2 has a definite value. 10 has a definite value. A is a variable. It can be basically anything. But now we've got a in the denominator in the bottom. And we don't want to wind up with an answer with a in the bottom. So the easy thing to do to this one is just multiply both sides by a. Just like you see I've done there. I did the same thing to both sides, remember? I'm still trying to get a by itself. This is true. But I did both things to both sides. So I wind up with a over a times 2. Same thing. And 10a. Whenever it's a number and a variable, you don't really have to put the dot unless you really want to. Okay? And here, anything over itself is 1. This is one of the most important things you can learn in algebra. Okay, in mathematics, in arithmetic, whatever word you want to use. Anything over itself is 1. This is one of the most powerful rules there is. Anything over itself is 1. Write that on a sticky note and put it on your bathroom mirror. And I know it sounds like something awfully simple, and it is awfully simple. Because the most important truths in mathematics are the simplest ones. Alright? So I have 1 times 2 equals 10a. And then any number times 1 is itself. Any old number times 1 is itself. This is the other one. I like to tell students that these are the 2 pillars of algebra. Anything over itself is 1, and anything times 1 is itself. Alright? There's an incredible number of things you could do with those 2 relationships. Okay? So now we've got 10a equals 2, or 2 equals 10a. That's a little bit easier on us now. Okay, so the simple thing to do now is simply divide both sides by 2. Probably before we do that, let's do something else first. I think it'll make life a little easier. Let's divide both sides by 10, not 2. It'll make it easier on us. Alright, now I've got 2 divided by 10 is the same as 1 over 5. That might need some explanation, so let's go over here and explain it. I have 2 divided by 10, or 2 tenths. If I divide this by 2 and divide this by 2, I will get 1 over 5. So 2 tenths is the same as 1/5. I will try to spend some time with fractions because I know fractions give people quite a fit. And then, of course, 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 times a is going to be a. So now we get a equaling 1/5. So this is the first time we've seen a fraction in one of these, okay? So stop hyperventilating, all right? Now, we want to check this. Always try to check your answers, all right? So to check this, let's plug this back in here into our original equation. 2 divided by a equals 10. Remember our original equation we started with, okay? 2 divided by a gives us 10. We've decided that a is 1/5 down here, so we're just going to stick it in. Now, this is where it really looks weird to people because we have a number over a fraction. Does it equal 10? And there's all sorts of ways to handle this, but the easiest way to do this is take the thing doing the dividing, invert it, and multiply. See, you're dividing 1/5, it's the same as multiplying times 5. Now you can dig around and find all sorts of good reasons for that if you want to. If you're interested in that sort of thing, fine. Otherwise, whenever you've got a fraction in the denominator, don't try to fight with it. Just simply invert it and multiply. That'll make life so much easier. Okay? And 2 to 5 is 10, and indeed 10 does equal 10. All right? That was straightforward enough, wasn't it? Now, if you missed anything, or if I went too fast with something, because I've actually introduced 2 things in this video so far. How to reduce a fraction to the smallest number you can reduce it to. And I've also introduced this idea of when you're dividing by a fraction, invert it, multiply. Okay, so let's go on and see if we can handle a couple more. And start off with a clean piece of paper. Alright, now let's look at x minus 7 equals 5. X minus 7 equals 5, okay? We want to isolate this variable, or isolate the x. We want to make it simpler. And everything we do to one side, we need to do to the other. Anything and whatever we do has to make the situation better. Now, I like this vertical method. Sometimes some people put it up here. We'll go, we'll write it like this. X minus 7 plus 7 equals 5 plus 7. This is how I learned to do it in school, but actually many years ago. But I actually kind of like this better. So now we're going to put plus 7 down here. Okay? Whichever you're both comfortable with is just fine. Okay? X minus 7 plus 7 is 0. And 5 and 7 are 12. Anything minus 0 is itself. And we've got x equaling 12. Now, after you've done a few of these, you don't have to put this step in there. Most people very quickly will drop this step out, and that's fine. I'm just putting it in for explanation, for clarity. Now, let's check this. I'm substituting in 12 for x. I'm subtracting 7 from it, and does that equal 5? And we see that indeed it does. I found very often with subtraction, I have to ask myself, what would I have to add to this number to get this number? Okay, that might help you a little bit. Now look at another one. 2 times x equals 4. Okay, now if this seems awfully simple to you and you want something harder, there's plenty of algebra books with it, and there's plenty of other videos out there. If mine aren't making good sense to you, try someone else's. There's a whole laundry list of things out there that people have done to help with math. And that's one of the things that are killers for a lot of students. If you're good at math, you're going to put yourself ahead of so many of your fellow students, okay? Let's say you go and get a master's degree in something one of these days, and 18 hours of graduate level math. You can find a job somewhere teaching math at a community college. Alrighty? So you're going to wind up way ahead of everybody else. And if you want to go into some sort of engineering, you're definitely going to need to learn some math. Okay? Alright, so we have 2x equals 4. Trying to isolate this variable. Let's divide both sides by 2. And we wind up with 1 times x equals 4 divided by 2, which is going to be 2, because 2 times 2 is 4, and x will equal 2. All right? We go back to check this. 2 times 2, does it equal 4? I use parentheses this time just to remind you that you can do that. Indeed, 4 does equal 4. Okay? Very easy, very simple, very straightforward. And I'm going to refrain from adding any more complication to this. I've probably gone on long enough with this one. Listen to it several times if you need to. Down in the comments section, if there's anything you'd like to see or anything you think I could do to make this more clear, do let me know. All right, we'll see you in the next video.